A few weeks back, I had on a commercial pilot from the Freedom Fighters, and he was telling me how there are a lot of pilots, commercial pilots, that are being grounded for other reasons, but they're being grounded because of what he called vaccine injuries. Now, what he's talking about is pilots that in the air were having heart attacks and other side effects that they believe are directly related to the vaccine that they were forced to get at one time. And he says that there's a lot of pilots that are worried about being in the air and having something like this happen. I want to get your thoughts on that because although you fly for the United States military, your job is just as important. And what about those that are vaccinated? Have you heard from anybody that's had a similar reaction or a side effect or a concern of that maybe happening?
Yes, absolutely, without a doubt. There are multiple different injuries that I'm aware of. I know of one pilot who's a fighter pilot, and he got myocarditis as a direct consequence of the vaccine. And he's been grounded for the last 7 months now, and he's struggling to actually get back into the aircraft. And there's a whole number of other, like myocarditis, pericarditis. I know of one service member, not a pilot, but nonetheless had 4 strokes after getting the vaccine. I know of special forces operators who now can no longer jump, dive, or fly. They can't do their jobs at all because of injuries from the vaccine. And so, yeah, you're right. It's not only a national security crisis for us to discharge tens of thousands of service members who we can't afford to lose over a vaccine that doesn't work. But on top of that, the vaccine is injuring those that did comply with the mandates and further preventing us from defending our nation. So there's so many different angles to this issue that I think we need to take a closer look at. And I'm not here to disparage my chain of command or Congress or anybody else, but simply just to encourage the American people and our leadership to take a closer look at this and back away from the mentality we had 2 or 3 years ago about COVID and reevaluate this right now today and say, is it really worth destroying our national security capability over this vaccine?
It certainly is not, and I'm glad that you are speaking up about it, and you are an American. You're not disparaging your command. You're being an American, and you're using your First Amendment right to speak about something that is very near and dear to your heart and should be near and dear to all of our hearts. But I'm glad you brought up the side effects that some people are experiencing. You know, I can't turn on the TV without seeing these class action lawsuits against Camp Lejeune and other places for certain chemicals or compounds they had that were cancerous. I wonder what's going to happen 5, 10, even 20 years down the road if we're going to see some class action lawsuits from our military members about this vaccine. And if they do, I wonder if anybody's going to be held accountable or anybody's actually going to fess up and admit that this vaccine is causing people problems, because you're not the first person I've heard it from. And a pilot in that situation, whether in military or commercial, is incredibly, incredibly worrisome.